Today's supposed to warm up nicely. Tomorrow. Today's supposed to warm up
Would you
nicely.
like a notepad? There you go.
Yeah,
This is
that's the
hard
live
copies.
stream.
Does anybody, Andy, do you want these?
Yeah, I'll take one.
Okay.
So it's not putting you out.
Nope.
I appreciate the QR code, but old school.
I know, old school. Some people just like paper.
I like paper. I like killing tree.
All righty, I'm ready. We'll start with roll call. Cam Hall,
Here.
Bob Hutchison,
Here.
Jan McGregor Clark,
Here,
Thomas Moses,
Here.
Andrew Palmer,
Here.
Davis Bukowski, Bob Reynolds,
Here.
and Wentz is traveling. And we have Chelsea Bond with the new, or Francesca Bond with the news on. And we'll start with our pledge of allegiance, please. Stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Motion to open the March 16th, 2022 Hamburg, New York IDA Board of Directors meeting at 7:33 a.m.
So
Thank you, Mayor.
second.
Thanks, Andy. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting open. The first item on our meeting agenda are the meeting minutes from February 16th, 2022.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds.
I'll second that.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are good. Next item on the agenda is the report of the treasurer.
I got two things I want to report out today. First of all, we all know we approved the budget last year for $228,100. I just want to do a couple little things that do a recap on 2021. We did have a greater than budget expense on payroll due to employee wages, bonuses, and increase of employee taxes and insurance. But we did all right on all that, just so everybody remembers how we did our 2021 budget. And overall, our variance obviously was very positive during the year. We did some great sales and other acquisitions were out there. So this year, we got 6 projects that are been approved in 2021, but have not closed. If anyone wants a list of them, I can give you a list of them. With the current projects and emerging developments, I anticipate we meet revenue budget for 2021, which is $228,100. So just right now, that's just a little budget overview. I've got the budget book down here if anybody needs to see it, where we got our expenses and everything due. On our February 28th report, we had a total income of $5,742.41. Our payroll expenses in that area was $10,202.21. We had some other office expenses of $510, which gave us a total expense for the month of February, $10,932.47. Since we had an income of $5,742, we ended up with a net loss of expenses over income of $5,190.06. So at the end of February, our total liability and budget was $1,042,862.17. Any questions? Everybody should have the financial report in. Okay. Motion to
Okay,
approve.
motion to approve the financial report from February 28th, 2022.
So
second.
Thank you, Janet. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Next is my update. Most importantly, I'd like to talk to, this is the time of year where Mary is really working hard. So I'd like to kind of go over some of the achievements that she's had so far this year, and the board. The first one is in the amount of $696,045. That's the amount of tax billed as pilot payment in lieu of tax on town and county bills. So Mary generated all those invoices and collected roughly $700,000 in revenue to the town and county as a result of projects that the Hamburg IDA has approved. So cool. That shows the results of your efforts, and also it's a lot of administration
It's a
and
lot of paper.
a
Mary.
lot of
QR.
lot of badgering. She's our own mini town clerk. The next item are, surveys, the audit, the annual audit, of which should be really back to us any day. The materials are out there, and I would say that our auditors have been more invasive this year than in years past. And I guess in terms of asking for more documentation and more backup. So they're taking a little bit deeper dive, which is nice. So it'll be interesting to read their findings. And then the last item will be the annual Paris reporting. That's the public authorities reporting information system that is required by all IDAs. So these are tremendous efforts, involve a lot of detail, accuracy, and follow through. So thank you, Mary.
When is that Paris due?
That is due the end of March.
Wow, so
That's coming up. Yeah, everything kind of, unfortunately, they don't give you a lot of time.
right.
So, as soon as that audit comes, like that day or the next day, begin the inputs to the database there. So, and I would encourage everyone, we'll have our committee review the audit, but I would encourage all the members, as you always do, to take a look at the financials and review the Paris to see where these projects are at. It's important to know where the agency is going, and I will certainly highlight key points, of which, as long as we're on that topic, Janet had mentioned FedEx last time. You were curious as to their numbers, and their reporting came in. So currently, there are I gotta get reading glasses, 372 full-time jobs at the FedEx facility over on Lake Erie Commerce Center. The employment agreement was by 2020, there would be 43 full-time and 156 part-time at the facility. So you can see the impact of employment is way above what they had forecasted there. And it's really been a great success at that place.
May I ask, just out of curiosity, was there a new audit firm this year?
I maybe potentially for the town. We did not change, but
Okay.
they involved, a combination of it was a Model Fox. Now a Model Fox got acquired, which
Okay.
does a lot of municipal auditing, and then Drescher and Malecki. So there was a combination of the two with the town. They may have had two audits, but we continued on with our firm. We've priced it out, and
Okay.
they've had the lowest price.
So what year are they in there?
New auditor, but same firm.
That's maybe why they did a little
Right.
deeper
They
dive.
gotta be like in the 5th year of their taxes now?
The situation in town hall.
Yeah,
Are you talking about FedEx?
Yeah,
that as well.
It might be 6 or 7.
so they're starting to pay a lot more taxes then on because.
Oh, yeah, their pilot's certainly burning off.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, it's like with 5 years, or 6 years, whatever.
it's been some time.
Yeah, so they got a 10-year pilot, right?
Mhm,
10-year.
10-year and 7.
It's good to know.
And
Yeah.
in line with Mr. Reynolds and his financial report in the state of kind of the 2022 financials, we were still working to close a number of projects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, essentially 6, because one company was 2 projects. So we're still working through that. But that, is a good pipeline for the agency. And I'll talk a little bit more about some potential new business that is coming in, new investment. The certificate of deposit rates, we're just waiting on the account number. We're ready to cut checks. So we may need you for that, Chairman. But the rates are now up to 0.83%. It was initially 0.42, but these rates have,
Wait until the
effectively
FedEx
doubled.
today.
So, yeah, I anticipate that they're going to continue to rise. But we're still looking to make that financial plan, working towards it. Some general project activity. I've been working on investors for a new build industrial and mixed use. new build truck terminal, new build chemical company, 2 multifamily projects. So these are, initial conversations. These are not into planning at this point, but, these are, me working with investors and trying to, help to see how we can leverage, the financials or, invest anything that we can into the project to make it a reality.
Hey, Sean,
Yes.
quick question. The old, on Jeffrey Road there, was that carbon company? I forget. the
Mhm.
name of it. Are they-
Carbon activated.
Carbon active, thank you. Are they looking to proceed at any point, or have you touched base with them, or?
They've closed. So we did they did a full pilot,
Okay.
and that pilot has closed. So they're ramping up over there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then the other item that is been taking a lot of time is the CARES grants. So we should next week have the full approval where we can start to roll out this 400,000 to the small business community. Right now, I've been working with 8 small businesses in the town of Hamburg. So it's a lot of reviewing the impact that COVID has had on their business and seeing if the impact that they've had and what they're looking to invest in their business to move forward in business investment and employment investment is in line with the organization of the grant program. So that's a effort on my behalf and also working with our consultants, the Harrison Place Studio, to see if they're in line. That's the initial meeting. And then from there, we start to collate their application materials. So there's an application, they need backup documentation, IRS filings, invoices, anything to document estimates and then invoices, any, backup to document what they need and that the monies have been expensed. And then we will then be able to reimburse them because it's a reimbursable grant.
Is there administration beyond that we have to take, or you?
Once the grants are doled out, the back end administration is simply labor reporting for 1 year
Okay.
that the consultant will do. So once we get the dollars out the door, the yeoman's task is done. Like
Okay.
90% of the labor is done. At this time, if we go through this 400,000, I don't think we'll be able to get more. I think, there's been a need to they've had more money than they could spend, but I think they've caught up. So unfortunately, I think once this 400,000 goes out, I was hopeful that we'd be able to re-up, but I don't know if that case will be there. So, but nonetheless, it's still a lot of money into these small businesses. Grants of between $10,000 and $50,000. So on the highest level, we can support 8 businesses at $50,000. And then the other one was I've had conversations with a local not-for-profit educational institution on some bond financing. So thank you, Jennifer, for your time and efforts with that. So that's kind of our project activity. Advocacy, we've been working through that marketing request for proposals, and we reviewed it at our executive committee. We're looking to perform that internally. And I've had some conversations with Mary on that. I'm going to look to revisit that with our executive committee in April. But I think we have a good plan for that. And monthly look ahead, the Hamburg Village Community Meeting is April 6th at 6:30 p.m. in Hamburg High School. Our next meeting is April 20th at 7:30 a.m. in Blaisdell Village Hall. The only other thing, what else did I want to point out? I really just wanted to point out, and Janet talked to it a little bit at the onset of the meeting, was the BOCES tour. I thought it was a great afternoon. Thank you for those that could attend. I know Janet had passed some additional information out because I don't think that we understand, just as John Q. Public, the amount of programming that goes on there. And I've been through workforce projects before, and I don't see people there. You see staff, but you don't see students or anybody receiving the services. And I thought it was a very active operation, and it was really nice to see students getting hands-on training. I thought the students were awesome. These are I think if were they like
You
early high
went
school,
during
junior,
the high school
freshman?
time, so 11th and 12th grade
11th and
students would
12th
have been
grade,
there.
okay. People,
And once they leave, the adult learners come in at night.
okay. So, you know, these students looked you in the eye, they greeted you, they welcomed you. It's something that in today's day and age with electronics, you wonder if that is all lost. So I thought that was great. It was great to see the programming. I would really look forward to the Hamburg IDA providing support to the BOCES Foundation through our, labor policies or through any other means that we can do. I think it's important that we continue to carry that policy forward among our partner IDAs and, leverage more resources into that foundation to the community by working with, our other municipal IDAs and the county IDAs to perform such a function. And then last, I think it's important to cultivate more opportunities for these students leaving these programs by looking to, as we have captive audiences of employers coming in to the agency and seeking benefits, that we can help them be successful in their retention, maintaining in Hamburg and expanding in Hamburg by making a connection to this educational resource and utilizing it as a pipeline for qualified employees. So thanks, Janet, for organizing it. Thanks for all you do. Wow, you've been on the BOCES,
Nancy Bojnowski organized. I
But-
just attended.
but you've been on the BOCES board for
25 years.
25 years. And I would, you get a feeling for like how the organization runs, if you're in business and like, I'm getting to the point, I don't want to say I'm old, but like, when you're in a good operation and when things are humming along and working very well. And I would say that that's going on over there. It's a great,
Yeah.
great operation.
And the cell towns really, without any disrespect, is kind of coming late to the table. A lot of the industry and businesses in the north towns already partner. Well, they don't partner with the BOCES Foundation, but they partner with BOCES in internships and programming and sitting on each program has a council. And they work very closely. I don't know if anybody's familiar with NIFIC, the Niagara Frontier Industrial Education Council.
Right.
But NIFIC and BOCES work hand in hand because we want students to come out and be ready for the workforce. And these kids are workforce ready. I mean, they're not. If you go in and see what some of us did, but the programs are second to none.
It was a very well-known tour, Janet, and, obviously being on the school board before, I was always familiar with that. My daughter went to school there, but I think the employers in our area really don't know how to take advantage of it at night, especially the night school and stuff. And, Mary, I hate to give you more work, but after everything settles down a little, maybe we could put together a little fact sheet with the foundation and send it out to all the people that have contact with us, through the link, through our tax abatement program, and let them know about this program out there. I mean, if you look at the full-time jobs you got at FedEx as an example, there might be some type of program they can set up to, push them ahead even further in different areas and stuff like that. So it's just a thought, but maybe that's something we could do later on to strengthen this tie-up with it. I really think this is a good step forward for this South Towns community. I'm going to say the South Towns community. It really was awesome.
And then I'll say one more thing, then I'll try to shut up. Might not
Me
work.
too.
But with the workforce development arm of BOCES, they will work with industry and employers. So in the instance of the GE course that people needed, they can either come in and provide that training at a business or have a business send their employees to workforce development for those trainings. So they'll push in or they'll have people come after work hours and they can specialize the training however folks need it. And it's
I think that.
a little more cost effective.
And I'll shut up after this too, but like the welders is a great example. They're all looking for welders and electricians and stuff, just to set up that course for a business outside going in. I think that, that's an awesome thing that the community should take advantage of.
It was an eye opener to see the variety and types of programs that were offered at BOCES. And then having people, that there's a waiting list to get into these programs. That was impressive. I was
It was-
very impressed by BOCES, by the programs. And the people.
Nice folks, huh?
Great.
We were fixing some cars. It's nice to see the mechanics.
And we generate, probably, just thinking, and taking a stab at a number, we probably have 100 construction jobs going on in Hamburg, like right now. And that kind of maintains. I know they finish one site and go to the next, but as a result of IDA projects.
It is nice to be right.
As a result of IDA projects, yeah, that's weird. Wish you'd give me the lottery number.
Did they take you through the house?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, but,
They're
so,
building a house on site that they
And
auction
then
off.
transfer it to another part of the community. And it's a home for some.
yeah,
So
so,
they do one for Habitat for Humanity.
yeah, that was
and
the one
then
they're
they
working on at
do
present.
at another center, they auction off.
So that's another employment impact, and also a demand, an industry demand, and the wages in these industries are going up significantly. So people are getting very high paying jobs and are able to live a high quality of life because of the demand of employment in a lot of these sectors.
Yeah, one girl stepped out of that HVAC, I call it, for air conditioning and stuff. like this.
HVAC.
Yeah, my shortness, but she stepped right out and she became a service mechanic right out there, right off the bat. Stuff like that, stepping out of the program. It was pretty impressive. So, all done.
Thanks. That concludes my report. Any questions on the new business? We talked about the audit in Paris, the directors and officers policy. I've been reviewing insurance. It's been a struggle. The current proposal I have excludes agencies providing tax credits or tax incentives or the application thereof.
Well, I don't think that's.
So, unfortunately, I have a meeting with our local IDAs. I mean, that's your exposure, as a director and officer, aside from egregious, there's other coverage in there in terms of sexual harassment, egregious behavior. There may be risk of, you personally,
Good thing the pay is so great.
so I know. So we need to negotiate through that point, or determine an alternate path.
So, Jen, you're involved with us. I've looked at this stuff before on a lot of boards and stuff like this. Do you think with our way we run this company and stuff like this board, that it's really that necessary right now to start spending like $3,000 a year on something like this?
You can never have enough insurance.
Okay, that's all I want to hear from my attorney.
Well, and
It's
the
such a litigious society right now.
Yeah.
yeah, the genesis of this is that we, you to protect you, number one, and also it may limit our capacity for new membership because sophisticated members, or potential members, they look out for this. So the boards that I am on, they do have D&O coverage. We are covered through the town on the town's policy, but the town's, is self-insured to $100,000. So I would be interested to see if the town has the same exclusion. I didn't broach that question yet, but there's minimally, it'd be nice if our agency had some gap coverage with like a normal $5,000 deductible that would be provided through the agency to protect our members. So is the exposure there? I mean, there's always exposure there. There's always, you can sue anybody for anything. So in the interest of protecting the membership and as a volunteer capacity, you know, and with the assets of the agency being different from what they were, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, you know, that it also comes with risk. Still need to work through that. And Mary had submitted the annual disclosure forms. You can't leave the room today without having those completed. Lock the village hall, put the gate down. Okay. Next item are our agency policies. Be it resolved that the Hamburg Industrial Development Agency Board approve and readopt the following policies. Code of Ethics, sorry. Code of Ethics and Conflict of Interest Policy, Defense, Indemnification of Officers and Employees Policy, Financial Disclosure Policy, Investment Policy, Travel Policy, Procurement Policy, Reimbursement and Attendance Policy, Property Disposal Guidelines, Whistleblower Policy, Sexual Harassment Policy, and last, Sexual Harassment Complaint Form. So moved.
So moved.
Thank you, Janet.
Second.
Thank you, Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the UTEP resolution. I'll go through the resolution and then we can, if it's moved, we'll open it up to questions and comments. This is a resolution of the Hamburg Industrial Development Agency adopting an amended and restated countywide Industrial Development Agency Uniform Tax Exemption Policy, otherwise known as the UTEP. Whereas in 2001, a countywide industrial development agency, UTEP, was established and adopted for use by the industrial development agencies in Erie County. Whereas the IDAs have determined that it is in the best interest of the IDAs and the residents of Erie County and the various towns, villages, and schools within the jurisdiction of the IDAs to amend and restate the countywide policy in its entirety to ensure consistency and compliance with general municipal law and ensure efficient ease of use for the IDA financial acceptance requirements. And whereas on January 18, 2022, the agency provided written notification to the affected tax jurisdictions of and provided the contemplated draft amended and restated countywide UTEP to the affected jurisdictions as so required by general municipal law. On January 27, 2022, the Erie County Industrial Development Agency hosted a Zoom video telephonic informational meeting attending by the IDAs and various affected tax jurisdictions where the drafted amended restated countywide UTEP was presented and discussed. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. The agency hereby determines that the adoption of the proposed amended and restated countywide UTEP is a type 2 action within the meaning of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and therefore no further actions are under seeker need to be taken by the agency. The agency acting by and through its chair, vice chair, secretary, assistant secretary, or other designated officer or director is hereby authorized to do all things necessary or appropriate for the accomplishment of the purposes of this resolution. And all acts heretofore taken by the agency with respect to the amended and restated countywide UTEP are hereby approved, ratified, and confirmed. This amended and restated countywide UTEP shall be effective on April 1st, 2022, and shall apply to all projects for which the agency has adopted or adopts an inducement resolution after the effective date. So moved.
So moved.
Second. Andy. Cam. On the question with the UTEP.
Just to clarify, this is when a company is coming to see if they can get benefits. On the back of the package, you or somebody else would look at this and determine their eligibility, correct?
Yes.
This is countywide.
This is a countywide scoring sheet. So, you know, this is essentially our memorandum of understanding that we operate on this level playing field. This is similar but different to the scoring worksheet that we've had before.
Okay.
So basically, the agency will review projects and define the scope under these pilot scoring metrics. And then the points will largely determine whether it's now a potential for a 5-year pilot, a 7-year pilot, or a 10-year pilot.
So it's not something where the IDA boards just say, hey, let's get a lot of breaks to this company because they're super nice.
No,
It's a structured approach to giving benefits that our community would obviously benefit from having the employer in that community in particular.
you're correct. You're
Right.
correct. Yes, so there's no arbitrary guideline. This is a defined metric that these companies will have to make, whether it be an investment, jobs, the sector that they work in, to make a determination as to what level of incentive they get.
Thank you for explaining this.
So we still have the option to do a special pilot. In the case of a large project like what's taking place in Niagara County. So that would be, I'd say, a special pilot beyond, outside of this scope.
Yes, general projects will fall into this. If there's a deviation, be it for a distressed area, a large employer, a larger investment, the Hamburg IDA or any IDAs in the municipalities can go through the deviation process and notify the taxing jurisdictions of the deviation. And if so approved, carry forward with whatever incentive would be deemed necessary to match that investment or to leverage that investment. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? UTEP is carried. Thank you. A lot of work involved with that one. Just another reminder for your sexual harassment training, please send your confirmation to Mary.
Send me that website, Mary. Send it out. to everyone.
Next is Billy Lee LLC. I'll go through a proposed resolution, and if it is moved, then we can go on to questions. Resolution of the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency extending the inducement period and sales tax period for Billy Lee LLC project until May 18th, 2022. Whereas the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency by resolution adopted on December 27, 2019, as extended on December 17, 2020, and extended on May 20th, 2021, and extended on January 19th, 2022, induced Billy Lee. For assistance by the agency, including mortgage tax abatement, sales tax exemption on any materials and or equipment, and real property tax abatement in accordance with existing UTEP as amended. With respect for lease or lease-only transaction for the construction of approximately 10,000 square foot addition to the building at 4760 Camp Road in Hamburg by the lessee as agent for the agency for the lease to agency and subsequent lease back to the lessee. Whereas there has been a delay by the applicant in closing the project, and now therefore be it resolved by the agency as follows. The agency does hereby extend the inducement period and sales tax period for the lessee from December 17, 2021 to May 18, 2022, and charges an extension fee of $682.74, which is in line with the amount outlined in our combined fee schedule on our website. This resolution shall take effect immediately. Can I get a movement?
I'll move. Motion to.
A second?
I'll second.
We should discuss it that way.
Yeah. Steve Savage is here from Billy Lee. We've been working towards trying to move this project to closing. Our hurdles involve the loss of Bill Savage that had capacity to act on both the landlord act as agent for both the landlord and also as agent for the company, E1 subsidiary of Rev Group. And then we've also been working through insurance as well to get the proper insurance as required by the agency to get this project to close. So I've been working with Steve very diligently. I've been working with our chairman, Bob Hutchison, very diligently to try to establish a path here where we can work through this project and support this project and the employment it generates. We've looked into the potential of moving this project forward by solely an installment sale agreement, of which the agency would only support the sales tax abatement by the landlord's investment on the project. And therefore as this may move forward, this is a path, this has to require board support. As we move forward, we would remove the property tax abatement on the project. Because there are requirements by the sublessee, which is E1 Rev Group, the tenant of Billy Lee, that they would have to maintain. They're not electing to maintain those obligations. So therefore we would remove the pilot and maintain the sales tax only exemption on the capital investment into the project for the town of Hamburg. This would effectively result in the abatement amount as proposed by current tax rates. We proposed a 10-year pilot. So for the taxing jurisdictions, this would result in, if the pilot would be removed, $83,333.16 going back to the taxing jurisdictions. That's among the county, town, and school tax. Steve, do you have anything to add?
Before he speaks,
Okay.
I just want to, we're setting up an extension that runs till May 18th to get this all together. Is that what we're looking at right here with the pilot being removed and just using the sales tax going forward? Or what is the true mention, what we're looking truly at?
What I want to identify to the board is that I think we've identified a path here with the support of the parties involved and Jennifer, who's put a tremendous amount of time and effort into this. But I think we need more time to close on an installment sale agreement. This expires today.
Okay.
So we need to, have more time. But I also want to identify to the board that, we're not just kicking the can down the road. I think that we have a path that supports this project as best we can. We can't, close on this project if the parties can't agree to the terms on the table. So either, we force recapture entirely, impose financial stress on a large employer in the town, or we match the abatement with the level of commitment that is on the table. And provide some more time to close. Jennifer, I don't know if we would have to have a board, since the board approved a full pilot and sales tax, do we need an approval to remove the pilot?
Correct. I would suggest that Billy Lee submit a new revised, which would be the second revised application, asking just for the sales tax. And then the board would have to approve that by resolution at its April meeting. In the meantime, I could set of closing documents that have been prepared for a year or so would all have to be revised to reflect this new direction, but we could have those all ready to go.
So just to continue my question. So May 18th is a drop dead date for everything being finalized. The board might look at something in April
Right, they
without
have
the
to
pilot
revise
in
the-
it. It's just, it would come down just a sales tax exemption. But May 18th, this company agrees that everything will, not this company, but the individuals applying for this agree that everything will be set in place where there's no pilot and it's just sales tax evasion.
Right, for this current application.
So when will they be reobligated to Well, since they never closed, they haven't really gotten a pilot, have they?
There's an existing pilot on this property. This pilot before the board now is only on the expansion.
Only on the expansion.
Right.
So it hasn't taken an effect, so there's no refund to the town, county, and school district.
Correct.
So the only thing we're really looking at, according to what I'm hearing today, is sales tax abatement
Right.
that we've currently already authorized. Right?
Yes,
Originally, when you authorized this project back in December of 2019, you agreed to a pilot on the expansion portion only, mortgage tax abatement and sales tax abatement.
So with everything coming down and getting finalized on May 18th, what will they end up with, Jennifer? Mortgage tax abatement? and
They
sales-
closed on a mortgage without using the mortgage tax abatement, so then they submitted a second application taking out that mortgage tax and it asking for increased amounts because project costs had gone up due to
Right.
the pandemic legitimately. So we amended the resolution
I
last
have,
fall, I think, taking out the
Yes.
mortgage tax.
and
for
the
this-
sales tax increase, the sales tax benefit was $59,286.
And still approving the pilot. So
And
if they
still approving
submitted
the
a
pilot.
third application, it would just be for sales tax. The board would have to vote on at its April meeting. You wouldn't need another public hearing because they're not getting any additional benefits, so you'd be fine there.
Okay.
But we'd only be closing on sales tax exemption.
What was the amount of that sales tax?
$59,286.
So right now we have 59,000 plus any fees that, the closing fees and so forth. that we-
Yes, subject to the IDA legal fees and the IDA.
So
fees.
somewhere around $70,000, just a ballpark number.
In-
59 plus whatever our fees.
Oh,
are.
that could potentially be recaptured?
Right.
Yes.
Now,
Well,
the issues that need to be resolved on this. What are the fine points that we need to take care of before we can close?
If we move forward as sales tax only.
Right.
Insurance. Insurance
Okay.
commission.
Personally, I stay at the last meeting that I would not be voting for any extension. I will not be voting for any extension. And I would say the idea that it's our responsibility as a board to retain a employer somehow by extending to May, I don't agree with that at all because this has been going on since 2019. We have given numerous extensions because of the COVID pandemic. So, yeah, I'm a hard no.
Can I
Yeah.
say something?
Yeah,
Please.
please. We just had the discussion before, so I understand what you're gonna say.
Yeah, well, it's, obviously a pretty unfortunate situation. There's three parties to this. My late father represented two of them. And basically I'm being told I can't represent one of them anymore. So we couldn't bring it to resolution. And E1 is looking at the insurance requirements that they're currently providing the insurance, which is, it sounds like a violation of how the contract is written. And they're looking at it and they're saying there's no benefit to it. If Billy Lee were to obtain the insurance, they're saying it completely outweighs the cost benefit of the incentive program. So they just have said no to the pilot. We're not interested. And I can't speak, I can only relay what they've said
Sure.
because I don't represent them, so it's taken it down to one party here, the one that has put all the money up at it, Billy Lee LLC, has received already that sales tax abatement, right? We did that because the project is done, right? So we've received the benefits, so to speak, and we're left holding the bag. So we provided E1 has provided the jobs, but they're not willing to commit to it, right? They're benefiting from the project, though they're paying for it. They're paying for it in the rent. But what we're looking at here is just total exposure for Billy Lee that I'm stuck holding the bag with, which is really unfortunate because all the other two parties have benefited from this. There are jobs retained and added in Hamburg. And E1's benefiting from additional manufacturing space. And I'm stuck here, you know, picking up the pieces with this thing. To me, it's extremely unfortunate situation. And, you know, so I'm not motivated to get it done. It's like I've been working my ass off for months here trying to get this thing done. But what you do when, you know, one of the parties is just unwilling to play ball.
Who's the third party? I'm sorry.
It is E1 Incorporated.
So there's E1, there's Billy Lee, and there's E1 Incorporated.
No, sorry, it's just E1. There's E1, Billy Lee, and the IDA. Those are the three parties. Yeah, and it's benefited since the late 90s, it's been a benefit to have Billy Lee as a landlord, because that was actually what enabled us to keep the business going when the former third party, RD Murray, was sold to a South Carolina company. They closed the doors and tried to move it all to South Carolina. And we prevented that by having this Billy Lee LLC in the middle, allowed us to go and engage with E1 and keep the business here in Hamburg. So it was a good setup at the time. Now it's not, you know, it didn't help this time. This time it actually made it worse. I think it's exasperated things because they're carrying the insurance as they're required by the sublease from Billy Lee, right? Which sounds like it's been in place for a long time, but it's been a violation of how the insurance was supposed to be according to this new pilot. And they're just looking at the benefit of the pilot. They're just saying it's not worth it. If you have to insure it as Billy Lee, and then we have to reimburse you per our lease for that insurance, they're saying, you know, because they're, you know, multi-billion-dollar company, they're looking and going, our insurance rates are way better than yours. And I've verified that they are, and they're not willing to spend that money monthly, you know, to without a benefit. So they just said, sorry, kind of thing. So I'm left holding the bag on this thing. It's not, you know, no one's trying to do anything, you know, get anything extra on this thing. It's in fact, we're letting, you know, we have to let incentives go. Really, they're letting the incentives go, right? And I'm asking that we can just, Billy Lee could just keep those incentives by us just doing a little more work and wrapping this thing up. The project's completely done in use. It has been for over a year. It's just a matter of dotting the i's and crossing the t's. Hope that helps.
So my question is, we're looking at a sales tax. Does he need insurance for the sales tax?
He needs insurance under the current pilot project
Yeah.
and for the sales tax.
So are you be able to get the insurance for the sales tax or you don't know?
What I think has to, so the insurance exists. RD Murray and E1, that third party have always provided the insurance and named Billy Lee LLC and the Hamburg Industrial Development Agency as additional insured. Because that's how the lease between Billy Lee and E1, or formerly RD Murray, was. It's a triple net lease. So they're required to provide in that contract, the lease between those two entities, they're required to provide the insurance. What has been discovered is that the pilot project or agreement between IDA and Billy Lee requires that Billy Lee carry the insurance. So
Okay.
that's the problem, is that apparently since the late 90s, Billy Lee's supposed to be providing the insurance. The sublessee has been providing it. So it's a matter of opinion if the insurance is there. The insurance is there. You know, Billy Lee and the IDA are covered by an insurance policy. But there's a thought that, no, it has to be this way. So what we're thinking is, can we do an amendment to the contract, something like that, that actually allows the sublessee to carry that insurance? And if we don't, then yeah, you know, Billy Lee's going to be out. My calculations is more like $80,000 to $100,000 that I'm going to have to write a check for, which is really unfortunate. And then what? then they're gonna just end up paying even more money, which is why they're saying we're not interested in the pilot.
But see, my real point of everything, I mean, obviously, this board is pretty intense on what's going on here and stuff, so we're giving you till May 18th an extension. My real thought is, do I want to kick the can down the road to 18th and you still don't come up with the insurance agreement? So we've done all this, or is there some reasonable possibility that you would come up with the insurance so we can at least get the sales tax abatement done properly? That's maybe it's not to you, but to Jennifer and you out there, because you're in negotiations right now. I mean, obviously, we have a board member right now that's pretty stiff on it, and there might be a few other ones, and if it doesn't get through today, there's no use even going forward on it. I mean, even I'm up in the air on this. Do you have a reasonable feeling, I just use feeling, that you can get the insurance part of this done? Sir.
This is new to me. I mean, it sounds to me like we can do some sort of amendment to the contract that's agreeable.
That decision would have to be made by the board. You have never strayed and not allowed, always required the property owner to insure the project. If you would like to look at a proposal that they can submit and reopen that project and rewrite the lease and the lease map agreements.
But to his point, our intent is that they're insured,
Correct.
right? I don't know that it's ever been that the property owner is necessarily the, like, I don't know, we've ever overtly had that discussion that it needs to be the property owner. We just sought insurance, which is logical, and which they have. So I guess I'm struggling to see the,
And I tried
We're
to
splitting
obtain
hairs here,
insurance,
huh?
and that's what the insurance companies come back to me and say. They say, the property is already insured
right?
by E1. How can we write a policy under this? So I'm kind of caught in this. I don't know what to do. All I know is this has been okay since 1998 for some reason.
And I would like to review the insurance on file with the agency to see what it looks like that.
Yeah, any opinion on the insurance, I'm deferring to our attorney.
And we may need to get our insurance carrier involved to review
Exactly.
that, to tell us what the coverage.
Because if
is.
there's some sort of gap, then
Correct.
we can't do it without.
The
that
insurance
gap
right
being
now
filled.
does not comply with the lease back from the
Right.
previous project.
And that's why
Like
we're
the
going after
previous
the
project.
Correct.
director of insurance.
So technically, what does that mean? They're not in compliance?
They're not in compliance with their current pilot, and you would have the right to send them default notices. The agency would have the right to buy the insurance and send a bill to them. And if they don't pay it, then you could take steps to terminate that project.
And that's gotta be eight or 9 years into it. So there's a pretty big recapture on property tax, right?
Right, but technically, we've had that right the whole time,
Correct.
because that's been your insurance arrangement the whole time, right?
That's my understanding. But you
Yeah.
gotta remember, I'm in on this for the last
Right.
couple months.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand. I don't know.
That's all I'm trying.
Was a
In the
board, I don't
race
think we were aware of this either.
Yeah,
Right. So
I'd
I
like to make a motion to amend your resolution
Okay.
to the date of April 21st.
next meeting.
Well, our
That's the
next
day after
meeting,
our
it's the
next
day
meeting.
after our next meeting.
Right, because the board will have to adopt a resolution at that April meeting based upon a revised application.
I'll second that.
So you're pretty much telling me I have to have it ready to go in hopes that you vote yes.
Well,
What we're telling you is we gotta resolve this issue in a month on the sales tax, and if we have to
I'm not
vote-
the issue.
I know, I'm not you, but-
Jennifer's not the
I'm
issue.
insurance, I'm
Right.
ready for it.
But the parties involved have to come up and make a presentation to this board on what they're gonna do by the next meeting. I mean, if you can't resolve it, then we've got no choice. I mean, we can't vote on something, we don't have anything in front of us.
Right.
you know, I'm gonna make a motion that we go into an executive session to refer with our legal counsel.
I'll second that.
Is that okay?
How about we make a motion to go into a session of attorney-client privilege?
That's what I'd like to do. That's what I was trying to say, but didn't have the words.
There's a motion and a second.
Mary, do you want,
We
if
gotta
you
vote on
want to
that.
take Mr. Savage, you
Oh.
guys can use the conference room. If you close.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Steve, can you excuse us for a minute,
Sure.
please?
Come on up, Jennifer.